Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again for another video. You know, it dawned on me this past week that we have done a lot of videos on this channel, a lot of educational stuff, talking about emotional abuse, talking about narcissistic abuse, talking about codependency, learning how to love ourselves for maybe the first time, really focusing on healthy dating. But it dawned on me that I never really did a video on what a healthy relationship even looks like. And I know that a lot of people have asked me, well, if this is what an unhealthy relationship looks like, then what does a healthy one look like? Because I've never been in one before. So for this video, I want to give you 7 things to kind of think about. That way you can know if you are in a healthy relationship. So this video is going to talk all about what really defines a healthy, lasting and happy relationship. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. This channel is growing so fast. It hasn't even been a year since I have, actually it might be a year. I actually think this month it is a year. But anyways, even in a year, the amount of growth and amazing feedback that I've gotten from all of you guys, it warms my heart. I love what I do, and I hope it shows through in these videos. But anyways, I'm gonna just keep talking, but let's get right into this week's video. So the first thing that will determine a healthy relationship is, and I talk about this a lot, I talked about this a lot in many videos that I've done, is you have to come to the table completely filled up. So you have to have 2 people that are whole and happy, 2 individuals that are coming together. We can't come to the table half filled. We can't come to the table expecting someone else to fill us up. We can't come to the table not knowing who we are and accepting ourselves for who we are. We can't come to the table not knowing how to love ourselves and validate ourselves. We can't come to the table not knowing, what are my values? What do I find important in a relationship? What do I need in a relationship? We just can't come to the table lacking any of those things, because when you have 2 people that are not whole, that's just a recipe for disaster. You're talking about codependency, you're talking about abuse, but when you have 2 people that are just really happy in their own skin, they love themselves, they know how to validate themselves, they know what they want out of life, they know what they expect in a partner or just people that they surround themselves with. So the first thing is 2 people that are whole and happy just by themselves. The next thing is you have to accept your partner for who he is or who she is. So if we're happy and whole and we're okay just by ourselves, we accept ourselves, it's easy to accept other people for who they are. That doesn't mean that we enter in relationships with just anyone. It means that we support our partner. We accept who they are. We love who they are. We respect who they are. We're not trying to change anything about them. Changing little things here and there, like, hey, if you did this differently, it could really benefit you. That's good stuff. Always giving each other feedback and things of that sort. But really trying to change someone, their coreness, a core value within them, or a character trait, or just who they are at their core, that's not healthy love. That's not real love. This is why it's so important when we're dating, is to discover who someone is. That's really what dating is all about, is you're showing me bits and pieces of who you are, I'm showing you bits and pieces of who I am, and we're seeing if we go together, if we mesh, and if you like what you see. And that's why when you're dating, over time, you're becoming more and more authentic. You're showing, your real self to this person, because if you don't show it in the beginning, you're eventually, you can only play a character for so long. Eventually that person's going to come out. And if that person comes out a year or 2 into a relationship, or while you're engaged, or you just got married and all of a sudden you decide to be like the real person that you really are, that's no good. So that's what dating is all about, is really showing each other who we are, so we either can choose to accept someone for who they are, and that their flaws are something that we're willing to put up with and deal with. I think Bob Marley says it. Everyone in life is going to hurt you. You just have to choose the people worth being hurt over. I think something like that. I don't even know. I totally just messed up that quote altogether, but that's okay. You get my drift. My drift is we're all imperfect. No one's perfect. We just have to find people that we love their imperfections, and we love those corny things that make them who they are. We love them, flaws and all. The next thing that will determine a healthy relationship is if you understand what love is. And I think that this is really important because I don't think a lot of people really know what true love, true unconditional love actually means. It's very easy to fall in love. When we fall in love, that's basically our emotions taking over. But when we love someone, love is a choice. And when a choice is based off of logic and reason, and when we choose to love someone, that's something that we do every single day. You know, over time, the honeymoon phase goes away, and of course we can always get it back and we can always rekindle a spark. But as time goes on, really what marriage and long-term love is about is a choice to love this person, that everything about them you love, like I said, flaws and all, and you're choosing to be in love with this person. You're choosing to love this person. Really, the basis of healthy relationships is a friendship. Because in the beginning, we're infatuated with someone, our emotions are taking over, but over time, we're building that relationship with that person by going through good times, by going through bad times, and by sticking it out. You know, I know I personally have known a lot of couples where they can say that the hardest times that they had to go through in life as a couple drew them closer together. They then had more respect for each other. They had more understanding of who the other person was. I mean, it really brought them together. You know, good times are great, but going through bad times as well and still choosing to love someone, that builds a healthy relationship. That builds a lasting relationship. The next thing towards building a healthy relationship is you taking responsibility for how you feel. And this for me was a real eye-opener when I started accepting that no matter what someone else did, I had to take responsibility for what I felt. So if someone did something that was hurtful to me, even though logically, yes, what they did is hurtful, I'm choosing to be angry. I'm choosing to stay in that place. And it's a balance between acknowledging the feeling and learning how to parent yourself through the feeling, but then letting the feeling go and not staying stuck in the feeling. And I think where a lot of couples will get into trouble is when they don't want to take responsibility for what they're thinking and how they feel in the relationship. They immediately just want to blame. And if you think about it, whenever a fight or a disagreement happens, not just between couples, but really with anyone, if we just took responsibility for how we felt and made a decision based off of how we felt, what we wanted to do with that information. So if someone's continuously hurting us, and we're continuously feeling hurt by someone, we have to take responsibility for that, and then we have to do something about it. So do we keep this person in our lives, or do we say, okay, let's talk about what just happened, let's use empathy and compassion for each other and try to understand each other's side of the story and sit down like rational adults and try to figure out where the breakdown was. I mean, that's really emotional maturity. That's an adult relationship. But when we get nasty with each other and when we do those low blows and when we're just nitpicking at each other and we're starting fights for no reason and we're blaming and then resentment happens, I mean, it's a snowball effect. And if both people in the beginning of a relationship could just make a commitment that no matter what happens, I'm going to take responsibility for how I feel. And I'm going to always have empathy for what you feel. Even if I don't agree with what you're feeling and I wouldn't feel that way, I still have to respect how you feel. I mean, if we were able to do that, there would be probably a lot less divorces in this country or even in the world if we just took responsibility for our own feelings. The next thing is honesty and respect. Now, in my mind, the two go hand in hand, because if you're going to be honest with someone, even if it's something that they don't want to hear, you have to be able to not get defensive when someone you love comes to you with something that they want to share with you, some sort of honesty. Now, depending on the approach of the person that's expressing themselves, whether it's passive aggressive or whether it's really abusive or hurtful, that's a different story. We're just going to pretend that we're all coming to the table. We all have emotional maturity. We know how to communicate with each other, and we're coming to the table really from a loving place. We're being honest and we're coming from love. We're not coming from abuse, narcissistic abuse, emotional abuse, passive aggressiveness, all of those other things. We're coming straight with love. In order to hear that honesty, you have to, number one, respect the person that you're getting that feedback from. You have to know that that person has your best interest at heart, and you have to feel that at your core. And if you don't feel that, and you feel like you're being attacked, or you feel like the way that they're saying it is, like I said, passive aggressive or condescending, or they're coming from that egotistical place, then most likely you're going to react with defensiveness. Now, if you also have some internal wounds that you haven't dealt with as well, you're going to come with defensiveness as well. But when two people can be honest with each other and they really respect each other, think of I'm sure we all have a relationship, doesn't matter if it's a romantic partner, it can be anyone, a friendship, a parent, a sister, brother, cousin, whatever, where you can both just be blatantly honest with each other and you respect each other and you respect what that person has to say. And even if you don't take on their feedback, you still acknowledge, you still respect what they're saying and you don't get defensive when they say it. That's the test of a great relationship, because we all want to be able to communicate what we're thinking. And at times, not everything you're thinking that you want to tell your partner they're going to like or they're going to agree with. And when we love each other, when we really know how to have a healthy relationship and we respect the other person, that's much easier to listen to what they're saying and not come from that defensive place. The next thing is trust, and I really don't think there's any explanation with that. If you don't trust your partner, then you're not in a healthy relationship. The next thing is, in my opinion, it's probably one of the most important things, aside from, respect and trust and things of that sort, but it's making your relationship a priority. Making your relationship a priority to say, you know what? Once a week we have a date night. Once a month we have a date night. Whatever it is that you can do for your relationship, just making your partner a priority. Being concerned about your partner. How are they doing? Really coming from the place that you came from when you first met this person. In the beginning, everything is amazing. We're giving, and all of a sudden something happens in relationships where it's like we stop giving because we want something in return. And what a lot of people don't realize is that when you give, you actually get. So if you just spend all of your time giving to your partner, right? And when you come home, your wife's had a hard day, helping her out, giving her a minute to, hey, go in the tub for an hour, here, have a glass of wine, go out with your friends, I'll watch the kids. Or knowing that, your husband just came home and he had an awful day, giving him a back rub or helping him do anything, really just helping each other and being a team and making each other a priority. That's so important, and so many people don't do that. They don't have time for romance. They don't have time to put their partner first. Like, they're just so consumed and so self-centered in what they want and how they feel, instead of just coming from a place of, I want to give love to everyone, and you always get it back. And you know what? If you're giving in a relationship and nothing is coming back ever, then of course that's a time to re-examine who's the person that you're in a relationship with, and how are they contributing to this relationship, because you can't do all of these things by yourself. And that's why it's so important to have two people that are happy and whole and take responsibility for their own thoughts and feelings and are givers. And if you had two people doing all of these things and taking responsibility for their part in the relationship, you'd have a great relationship. One of the things that I always stress throughout this entire channel is everything starts with you. So if you want a healthy relationship, if you want a great partner, you have to learn how to take care of yourself. You have to learn how to be alone. You have to learn how to love your life just the way it is and be happy just by yourself. When you work on yourself and you heal your wounds and you get rid of that codependency, you get rid of that guilt, that people pleasing, needing validation, and all of those things. When you heal all of your stuff, when you take responsibility for your life and your happiness, you cannot not attract a great partner, because you attract what you are. So I hope that this has helped you guys understand really what a healthy relationship should look like and how it should feel when you're in one. So again, thank you guys so much for all of the comments. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, I will link that down below. If you're interested in following me on social media, I will also link that down below, and I will see you next week.